Welcome back to Maker's Digest. This is going to be a 3D printing episode, and it has a story. My son is 21 years old in college, and initially started going to college for mortuary science. That's pretty awesome. I thought that was a great idea. He was totally into it, and what ended up happening was so many people dropped out of the program that they had to eventually shut down the program for the semester, and the next semester there wasn't enough enrollment either. So in the meantime, he started taking some medical type courses with the regular med student kids. I guess I shouldn't say kids, they're in college, but the med students really liked it and wanted to be an EMT in the process. So past several months has been going through all of the classes and certifications and everything to become an EMT. And in the last couple of days went and did his 24 total hours. So there was 12-hour shift in a hospital and a 12-hour shift on an ambulance. And I couldn't be prouder. I thought it was super cool. And Christmas is in 2 days. So I thought I would 3D print something to celebrate that, because that's a big deal to go through your 24 hours and get the in-field required hours that you need. So I did a little bit of research on what the EMT logo is, and apparently it's called the Star of Life. And so I found a DXF CAD file. Actually, that one didn't work. I ended up finding an SVG of the thing. I downloaded it and imported it into Fusion 360 and turned it into something usable. And this is what we came up with. So we have the Star of Life, this is called, and I wanted it to be a little more colorful because there's the snake and I don't know what the pin represents, but we did those as well. So we have this in red, and I wanted to put EMT right here. And I thought that would look cool if it was raised. So I printed those in this awesome orange, and I recessed it in here just a little bit, so when I put it back together, I didn't have to worry about lining them up. They would just slip in there and be perfectly aligned. Should get the right side on there. And the snake. We did the snake in green. So it's going to look something like, let's fit this all together. So it goes one way, goes like that, goes like that, just kind of fits on over there. And one last little bit of tail. So that's it. Wasn't too difficult. This the star part took the longest to print. Obviously, these other ones were sub-hour prints, pretty easy. But now we're just going to clean it up a little bit and glue it all together. And I just wanted to tell that story of my son, who is now an EMT, and I couldn't be more proud. So let's clean this up. All right, pretty cleaned up. Wasn't bad. It's not a lot of weird overhangs or anything on this printer, so or on this part, so it cleaned up pretty easily. Now we're going to glue it together. Kind of want to clean this up just a little bit. So I use this glue stick. This glue stick came with my Prusa Mark III, and it works really well for holding stuff down, except for you get a little bit of funk on your parts. You see that? So try to clean that up a little bit. Gonna use some CA. Have kind of mixed results with CA on PLA, but when it's on flat surface to flat surface, it seems to work fairly well. But tomorrow I'm traveling to where my family lives, and I will get to see my kid, which he lives here in town, a little bit in one of the suburbs, but I still don't get to see him that often because it's just far enough away that it's close to his school, but it's just far enough away that it's expensive for him to drive here. So excited about going to family and seeing my kid and get to talk about the experiences that he had on the ambulance and in the hospital. He was texting me and telling me how cool it was and what was happening and what wasn't happening. And I can't wait to hear all the cool stories. All right, what are we gonna use? Some Loctite super glue here. I think this has welded itself on pretty good. We'll just get right in there, get some out. Let's see, are we really fitting in there well? Yes. This is like a gel CA. Cool stuff. It's easier to control where it goes. And don't get me wrong, I still like the classic liquid stuff, but this is has its place. Well, there it is. Let that set up for a little while, and I'm going to take it to him tomorrow. No, it's not the most impressive thing, but it is to me because I couldn't be more proud of my son, who's now an EMT. I mean, he's only 21. Even though it feels like it took 40 years to raise him, it still feels like it was yesterday when he was just a kid, and I couldn't imagine him doing something like that. So, very cool, very proud. Thanks for being awesome. Here's a little preview of what's coming up next week. Don't mind this side here. This chip is the MCP 3008. It's an analog to digital converter. Since the Raspberry Pi does not have any analog inputs, sometimes you need to convert an analog signal to digital so you can read something accurately. For example, one of these guys. This has got potentiometers in it, just like this is a potentiometer. That's what we're going to use in the example. We're going to read that value, and it's going to come in super precisely from an analog device. This just has these little thumb controllers, just have a potentiometer on 2 axes here, and they also have a switch. And this way you have all the pins on here. You have ground, 5 volts, X, Y, and then switch. So these X and Y we need to read through an analog to digital converter. This switch we can just read as GPIO if we want. So that's it, coming up pretty soon. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.